66 million years ago, long before humans set foot on Earth, the ocean was not a calm place. In its depths lurks a predator so terrifying, so efficient, that even the king of the land, Tyrannosaurus rex, would never dare challenge it on its own turf. This animal has a body length equivalent to a school bus. Its jaws could lock down prey as large as a shark in a single bite. And what's even more amazing, it wasn't a fish, nor was it a dinosaur. It is a giant lizard that evolved to leave the land and claim the entire world's oceans as its kingdom. Its name is Mosasaurus. This is a story about evolution, about how life can adapt to extremes, and about how modern science was born from a strange skull found underground hundreds of years ago. To understand Mosasaurus, we must first go back to the year 1764, to a small town called Maastricht in the south of the Netherlands. Under a hill called St. Petersburg, limestone quarry workers are digging as usual. The city of Maastricht itself is largely built from limestone that they quarried from the bowels of the earth. But that day, their shovels hit something unusual, a giant skull fragment far larger than any animal bone they had ever seen. They didn't know what it was. Some thought it was the bone of an ancient crocodile. Others thought it was a whale. But the figure who truly brought this fossil to the world scientific stage was a military doctor and amateur fossil collector named Johann Leonard Hoffmann. He was so obsessed with this strange skull that he regularly paid miners to remove every large piece of bone they found. Hoffmann then wrote letters to leading scientists in Europe, telling them about his discovery, and unwittingly, it was this correspondence that made the giant beast from Maastricht famous among scientists across the continent. For years, this fossil had no scientific name. People simply called it the giant fossil animal from the Maastricht quarry. Then came a turbulent era. In 1794, French revolutionary troops stormed Maastricht. A popular legend, perhaps a slight exaggeration, but nonetheless compelling, said that the city's most valuable fossils were deliberately hidden by the city's inhabitants to prevent them from being seized by the French. But in the end, the fossil was handed over, reportedly in exchange for hundreds of bottles of wine, and then taken to Paris to be displayed in France's National Museum. It was in Paris that the great scientist Georges Cuvier, later dubbed the father of vertebrate paleontology, examined this fossil in depth in the early 18th centuries. The conclusion shocked the scientific world at the time. This fossil was not a crocodile, not a fish, but a giant sea lizard from a completely extinct species, a species that has no living descendants on Earth today. This statement may sound trivial to us now, but at the time, the idea that a species could completely disappear from the face of the Earth was revolutionary. Many people at that time believed that all living things were created in a perfect and eternal form. It was Cuvier's analysis of this fossil along with several other giant fossils he studied that provided some of the earliest and most convincing scientific evidence that the extinction was real. It wasn't until the year 1822 that an English geologist named William Daniel Conybeare officially named the genus Mosasaurus, derived from Mosa, the Latin name for the Meuse River that flows through Maastricht, combined with the Greek word sauros meaning lizard. So literally, Mosasaurus means Meuse River lizard. The species name Hoffmanni was only added in 1829 as a tribute to Hoffmann, the doctor who so persistently fought for this fossil to be known to the world. Interestingly, the story of Mosasaurus discoveries didn't stop in the 18th century. In 2012, hundreds of years after the first discovery, a new Mosasaur skeleton, this time measuring approximately 13 meters long, was discovered in the exact same quarry in Maastricht. It's as if the Earth still holds more secrets in the same location, waiting to be unearthed. And the geological period in which mosasaurs lived, the last 6 million years of the Cretaceous, was even named the Maastrichtian after this small town, a lasting recognition that Maastricht is the birthplace of science about these ancient sea giants. Now that we know how Mosasaurus was discovered, let's address a much more interesting question. How did a lizard, an animal whose ancestors walked on land, evolve into one of the deadliest marine predators in Earth's history? The answer begins millions of years before the mosasaurs themselves appeared, from a group of small reptiles called Agrialosaurs. distant relatives of today's monitor lizards and Komodo dragons. One transitional fossil found in Texas, called Dallosaurus, illustrates this early stage of evolution very clearly. Its body was long, its legs were still short, and it was likely still able to move on land as well as swim in shallow water, much like the way marine iguanas live today. But over a period of about 27 million years, the descendants of these small reptiles underwent a remarkable transformation. Its former walking legs gradually evolved into wide, flat paddles. Its phalanges actually increased in number, a unique adaptation that made its fins more robust for directional control rather than for propulsion. In more ancient mosasaurs, the tail was long and used for snaking movements like a snake or water monitor. But in more advanced species, including Mosasaurus itself, fossil studies show that the ends of the vertebrae curved sharply downward, forming a sort of crescent-shaped tail fin, very much like a shark's fin, only reversed. It was this structure that changed the way mosasaurs swam, from simply slowly meandering to being able to dart quickly after prey much more efficiently than their ancestors. Its skin adapted too. Small, overlapping scales all over its body created a smooth surface that reduced water resistance, an evolutionary solution that surprisingly resembles the texture of modern shark skin. Mosasaurs had conical teeth that curved inward, perfectly designed to grip slippery prey to prevent it from escaping. But even more uniquely, it also had an extra row of teeth on the roof of its mouth, a feature shared by modern snakes. These extra teeth served to continually pull prey deeper into the throat once bitten, making it nearly impossible for the victim to escape. Instead of tearing prey into pieces like sharks, mosasaurs most likely swallowed their prey whole. Its jaw itself has an extra joint in the middle, allowing it to open much wider than a typical lizard, much like the way a snake opens its mouth to swallow prey much larger than its own head. With such weaponry, it's no wonder the mosasaur's diet was nearly limitless. Large fish, sharks, ancient squid, hard-shelled ammonites, sea turtles, seabirds that dive too close to the surface, even other smaller mosasaurs, including occasionally their own kind. Bite marks found on mosasaur fossils prove that competition between these giant predators often ended in deadly fights, even cannibalism. In terms of size, the largest species of Mosasaurus hoffmanni is estimated to have reached to 17 meters in length, almost as long as a truck trailer. At such a large size, virtually no other animal in the Cretaceous seas was large enough to consider an adult mosasaur as prey. Their greatest predators, ironically, were other mosasaurs. But sheer size alone wasn't enough to rule the oceans. Mosasaurs also possessed keen eyesight, helping them detect even the slightest movement in the darkness of the deep sea or on the dim surface, compensating for their otherwise weak sense of smell. Some studies even indicate mosasaurs may have been warm-blooded, a major advantage that allowed them to remain active hunting in cold waters, not just warm tropical seas, allowing them to colonize nearly the entire world's oceans. The combination of all these factors, a giant body, swimming speed, deadly jaws, sharp vision, and total freedom from land, made the Mosasaurus truly unrivaled. Its fossils have been found on nearly every continent, including Antarctica, attesting to the extent of its domain. It shared the oceans with other giant predators, such as Tylosaurus, but fossil evidence suggests they likely hunted different prey, allowing them to coexist without exterminating each other. About 66 million years ago, a giant asteroid struck what is now Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. This catastrophe not only wiped out the dinosaurs from land, but also ended the reign of the mosasaurs in the oceans, along with the plesiosaurs and almost all other giant marine reptiles. In a very short geological time, the ruler of the oceans who had reigned for millions of years disappeared completely from the face of the earth. All that remained were his bones, buried in layers of earth for tens of millions of years, until they were accidentally unearthed by limestone miners in Maastricht and changed the way humans understand the history of life on this planet forever.